guys, how's it going? Time to do some flying. Gonna go, where are we going? United 670 O'Hare to Boston. Using the Nimbus scenery here. Xplane 11 action. So, man, just looking at the textures on this thing, the reflection is like, oh, such a good sim. Anyway, I used to do P3D hardcore, but I think I'm an Xplane fanboy now. Come over to the dark side. Anyway, so let's get it going. It looks like my windshield is starting to frost over, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the window heat right off the bat. Alright, so let's see here. For starters, I guess might as well go ahead and get the... I'm curious, why am I not hearing anything? Let me check something real quick. There we go. I was wondering what was going on. Alright. So, moving back in. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the FMC set up for starters. So we're going to go O'Hara. Not going to bother putting in the gate. It never seems to work for me anyway. And then, hey, the Rav, what's going on, man? Good morning. It's early over here. Well, early for me on an off day. So let's see. Then we're gonna go KBOS. That would be Boston. I do have a company route. I do believe in there. So pop up invalid entry. Okay, did I not export it? Let's see. Hey, what's going on, Adrian, the pilot? Oh, it looks like it's 02. Okay, that's the problem. Alright. So it's route number 2. I didn't know I had a route number 1, but alright, whatever. Oh, you said you actually worked at the airport? What airport is that you work at, if you don't mind me asking? Alright, so United 670. 22 left, I suppose. We'll activate that. It's pretty direct coming out over here, but it's a J-Fund arrival. I'm gonna guess 27 for now. I could be wrong, but I'll check that later. Alright, so that's all in. Alright, so let me get my payload and nonsense together. So let's see. What is the payload? Payload is gonna be 32.6. Drop that in. Fuel is gonna be 15.9. Well, I mean, for flight sim, I've probably been doing flight sim since like 1999 or 2000. And just want to make sure you guys can hear me, right? Just want to make sure everything's streaming the way I think it is. But yeah, I've been flying since, on flight sim since that long. And then, I've done a little bit of real life flying, but it's mostly sim for me. Hopefully one day I'll get my pilot's license to be done. I'm not on VATSIM at the moment. I think on my next flight I'm going to install Squawk Box and get that going. But for now, I'm just, because I'm basically still just getting accustomed to Xplane, to tell you the truth. Alright, so let's see. So all that set in, so let me go back to FMC now, drop that in, 15.9. And if you guys are wondering, I work as a dispatcher for a major United States airline, so that's what I do for a living in the aviation business at the moment. So I plan all these flights and watch them en route and all that. All right, so initial altitude is going to be 35,000. No, I don't have a shared cockpit. I don't. Not at the. That's something else I think I'll get into in the future, but for now I don't. All you parents out there. All right, so let's load up the flight plan into Active Sky XP because I need to know what my winds are. Yeah, let's not get lost. I'm not about getting lost. All right, so winds are 270 at 56.
Welcome aboard. As you find your seat, please stow your larger carry-on luggage.
And what's the IC deviation on that? Probably should have checked that out too. IC deviation is negative 43 for top of climb.
Let a flight attendant know if you need any help. On this flight, we offer personal device entertainment, one of United's private screening options.
All right, so that's in. Let's go ahead and grab the outside temperature. What's the altimeter? I think they have it up on the board here. Yeah, 3004. So I know how to go ahead and plug that in. So let's see here. 3004. I might as well plug that into the standby as well.
Seated in an exit row. Please review the exit row responsibilities on the safety card. A flight attendant will be coming through shortly to ensure you're comfortable.
All right, so that's all in.
Flight attendants, please bring your exit.
All right, so I'm gonna go over here to Top Cat real quick. Pull some speeds. I don't know how I got by without Top Cat before I ever got it. All right, so let's update the weather in here. Blasting off a 22 left. Let's see, the winds are 2207, so that's perfect. Alright, so it looks like it's going to be 31 degrees C. Flaps 5. Speeds are 37, 37, and 44. Alright, let's pop the CG. Go ahead and go legs plays on that side. So let's see what we got to do next here. So let's go ahead and get the MCP panel all set up. So 147, drop that into the speed window. Heading is going to be 225. Went a little too far there. Altitude 35. I'll just pop straight on up because I'm not using ATC today. And let's get the flight director on that side. As far as the overhead is concerned, all that's fine for now. Don't really need to do anything there. Let's go ahead and pretend to check the oxygen. Alright, let's put in ourselves a fake squawk code. And let's move that to standby. So I'm going to go ahead and start the APU because we're just about ready to go. And while that's happening, I'll go ahead and get the push tug to come and get me. So let's see, we're at the end of the terminal here, so I'll go ahead and just move on out to the taxiway. Zoom out a little bit. Alright, so that's good enough.
Alright, Captain, got the directions. Let me know through the menu when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm still doing baby steps too. Like I've been on P3D for so long that it's still, you know, I'm still trying to get used to everything, how different it is in Xplane. You just got to keep working at it. You know, I learned obviously because I have a background in the job, but then also the flight sim also helped me learn FMC as well. So it's just one thing at a time, but it all come together over the course of practice. All right, so come get me.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
Alright, anti-collision's on. Everybody have a seat. Let's make a PA announcement.
And a very pleasant good morning. From the cockpit, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
gonna cycle this to get the bridge to
Flight attendant,
disconnect.
protect departure, cross-check, and all call, thank you.
There we
In
go.
just a few more minutes,
I don't know how else
all
to get
the
that to
doors
move away.
closed and ready to begin our pushback and taxi out for an on-time departure.
Alright, it's coming out from underneath the wall there.
Attendants will be showing an important safety video demonstration of the equipment on board the aircraft.
Alright, so our APU started yet? Yep, it's all set, so let's swap over the buses to the APU power. And we'll go ahead and switch off the, we'll go ahead and disconnect the GPU, so that's done. Turn on the APU, please. Alright, hydraulic pumps on, pitos on. Let's go ahead and turn on the pumps.
Alright, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
And we'll get this set to the window so we don't get hypoxia on the climb out. Which I found out the hard way is modeled in Xplane. And, you know, I don't really need these right here. Go ahead and turn those off. Alright. Love the graphics in Xplane. Jeez. You know, I might as well go ahead and turn this,
Welcome aboard, Captain. Toes connected, bypass pins inserted. Go ahead and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
yeah, hang on a second. I don't need this. Alright, so parking brake is dead.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
Light them up. Alright, so pack's off. And we'll turn number 2 first. Alright, so we're going to wait on 25% in one. Usual thing. There's the fuel. There's the view.
In just a moment, we'd like to direct your attention to the video screens located throughout the aircraft for a brief but very important.
I don't have
safety
failure
message
set
about
on,
the
so I'm not
safety
too
features.
concerned about a false start, a high start, or any other kind of start, but a good start. Everything should go well. I gotta fix these shadows. There's a fix for that, and I had it installed, then I uninstalled it because I was troubleshooting something. I'll fix that another time.
Bienvenidos a bordo.
Alright, so good start on 1. Excuse me, 2. Turning 1.
Smaller personal electronic devices must be secured.
Alright, so 25. Alright, we're about done with this push. I'm getting antsy. Alright, we done?
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
Alright, brake set.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
No sweat. Alright, so gens. APU off. APU bleed off. Packs on. And that's about it for the overhead. Nothing else really to see here. Alright, so let's get our flap set. Flaps 5. RTO. Disconnect. Let's check the flight controls, make sure they work. Everything looking good. I don't know why that just happened. Oh, is that view thing that turns? Alright, that's fine. I'll let that ride. Alright, switch this back to engines.
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the left. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
You know, I just realized I need to set my trim. It wasn't too far off anyway. There goes the push. So not much else left to do. There's the pin. Salute. Alright, so what's left to do but taxi? So taxi lights on. And we'll pop the brakes. And Mosley. Alright, you know what? Forgive me. I forgot to pull one thing out. It always helps to have your steering tiller. Alright, so that's Alpha 8. I think like Alpha 10 is the one I'm going to switch on. I had to. Safety first, right? Got to be able to steer on the ground. They probably do that in real life sometimes too, you know. Alright, so we'll make it right here on Alpha 10. Back here. Look at that sun reflection. So yeah, I got Mr. X's Boston scenery. I haven't actually seen it yet. I just checked to make sure it's installed, but I didn't really check it over. For some reason, I like to fly in and kind of see it for the first time as I go in. Just going down on Bravo, passing the international terminal. So flaps 5 RTO's on, trim set. You got the V speeds in. 31 degree assumed temp. Everything's looking like it should. One thing I just gotta say I like about Xplane versus Flight Sim. For the most part, it just works. I really haven't had to do anything to fix, you know, a lot of stuttering issues or frame rate issues. Man, when I was running P3D, and it was constant. Like I did more of that than actually simming. Thanks for stopping. Yeah, I just load up Xplane and it works. Then you got the flight dynamics. It's way more realistic as far as modeling the flight dynamics. I mean, I still have P3 on the computer, but it's just more and more I'm just starting to move away from it. Never thought I'd be saying that, but got representing here? The static aircraft. Is that Air India, Scandi, Virgin in the house? What was that, KLM? No, that's Aer Lingus. Shamrock. So we're not too far away, so I'm gonna have the flight attendants take a seat.
Flight 10, please be seated for departure.
I wish there was another way to get the flight attendant to sit down because I don't want to text around.
Cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
You too. I'm gonna need coffee here in about 30 minutes. Alright, so we're almost out here. I think 22 left is over there somewhere. Moving kind of fast. Absolutely, it all works. It's funny because you get like PTSD from trying things, because like you try things and then it ruins your sim, and then so from that point on you're scared to try anything because you're like, what's the next thing I'm going to do to crash my sim? Alright, so let's take the runway. Strobes on, lights on. There's one flaw in this scenery right here. I think this is where runway 28 right comes, and they've got these approach lighting systems on the runway for 22 left. That's probably a fix out there for it. I just haven't looked to find it, but for now we'll just pretend like they're not there. Just a little fog on the runway, that's all. Alright, so we'll stop it right here. Alright. So lights on, camera, and action. So 50%. Pull out thrust. So that's the play. Let's go ahead and do. Probably should have said that beforehand, but never mind.
80 knots. V1.
Alright. Little ground effects here.
Positive rating.
Gear it up. So usually with O'Hare they do immediate turns after they cross, so we'll just go ahead and do that. So let's just go ahead and make a left turn and head to red.
1,000.
1,000. So I do my turn at about 210 knots until I get lined up. What is that? E-bake. So we'll move the gear back to off. Give it a little trim. Downtown O'Hare, or downtown Chicago. All right, flaps 1. And begin to roll out here. So we're gonna go through our E-bake. Flaps up. Alright, so we'll trim it out for 250. Alright, you said the channel needs more info. You got some suggestions. I put any info you want to know, I'll put it on there. I'm always open for suggestions. Like I said, it's a new channel anyway. I'm sure I'll learn as I go. Well, it's not new, but I haven't really put anything on there until now, or lately. Alright, so we just about got the trim set. Just a couple little more adjustments here to fix it. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to the review brake and the FMC. We'll turn on LNAV. Turn the auto brake off. Don't need that anymore. Get it adjusted. Just about got it. So sensitive. It's always nice to know about the streamer in case maybe your favorite planes plugin is working as a dispatch is actually really cool enough. Alright. I'll tell you what, I'll update that next opportunity. So next time you come back, I'll put a lot more info in there. That's a good suggestion. Alright, so right about the time I finally kind of get the trim nailed, I'm going to pass 10,000 and we're going to accelerate. Alright, so I know it says, what is that, 270, but I'm going to accelerate to 290. 270 is a little slow for me. Let's turn off the lights here. Let's go to 290. I'll change that in FMC here in just a moment. Also, one cool thing I get to do as a dispatcher is I get to ride in the jump seat. I pretty much can get on any jump seat I want for any airline, not just my own. So I get to see a lot of piloting going on. I get to kind of see exactly how they do it and how they do their briefings and what their concerns are. I've probably been on the jump seat, I don't know, 500 times. I mean, who knows? So it's a real cool thing to see. I like to see how they handle themselves, and it really helps me as a dispatcher too to understand what it is that they need. All right, so let's kill the wing light. Everything's looking the way it should. Alright, so it's about trimmed out, so I'm going to go ahead and change this in FMC to 290, Mach 7.8. And we'll also do it for descent. Slash 290. Insufficient fuel, that looks alright. Oh, it'll be fine. Alright.
A variety of snack boxes and refreshments are available.
Lake Michigan there.
As well as freshly prepared meals from our bistro onboard menu. You can find more details about the menu in the back of Hemispheres magazine or the CMAC guide. We accept most major debit and credit cards.
Alright. Well, this is a good time to turn on the autopilot. So we'll swap that on. Let go of the rudder pedals. Don't really need that anymore. And I'll go ahead and set standards since we know we're going to blast right to 18,000. Yeah, jump seat jump seat is kind of interesting. The first time I did it, I was on it was back when I was working for, they were called Pinnacle Airlines at the time. I think they're called Endeavor now. But I was going Memphis to Milwaukee, and it was it was such a bug out to see like how it really felt and how it really looked up there, you know, in the jet and all. It was a CRJ 200 that I was doing it on, so the jump seat was very small, but I didn't care. I was so excited to do it. I thought I was just getting to do something that just was unbelievable. We get up to Milwaukee and then we come back, and it was just the coolest thing. But then it's like, you know, I have to do this every year. I'm required to do at least 5 hours of jump seat time per year. The rest of the time I'm doing it is usually when I'm commuting or trying to fly somewhere for free or whatever. And the more you do it, it's kind of funny. The more you want to sit in the back. Like, the more you do it, the more you, at least when you're non-rev or you're trying to fly somewhere for free, the more you just go, man, I don't want to be up in the jump seat. I just want to relax in the back. So it has this effect where, now why are we turning left here? That's strange. We'll give it a chance to do what it's supposed to do, but I don't know why it's turning to the left. There we go. Straighten it out now. So anyway, and it's not that you don't appreciate the opportunity to jump seat, but sometimes it's just really tired and you just want to relax in the back. And when I do my annual jump seat, so last year I went to Amsterdam on a 777. And so I got to see the Atlantic crossing procedures and got to hear the European operations and all that, so that was pretty cool. And they give you a first class seat, you know, because you spend about the first 2.5 hours up in the cockpit, and then when you get ready, you go to the back and go take your seat that they reserved for you. And then sometime, you know, a couple hours before the flight's going to end, you'll go back and you'll see the rest of the procedures. But some people are so interested in it that they just like stay up there the whole time. So it depends on who you are. But yeah, the jump seating is one of those things. It's a love-hate relationship. You love it, but at the same time, you hate it. It's a weird thing. Oh, I gotta fix those shadows. That looks terrible. Just not even 2 days ago, I had that fixed. And so basically what happened was I had my traffic on the highways wasn't working. Like, I had no traffic on the highways, and so I couldn't figure out why. And so I deleted a bunch of stuff and just basically reset my settings to get that back. And so then I forgot to take care of my shadow fix because all the jagged edges on the shadows kind of annoyed me. Yeah, like that right there. So I have to fix that before the next flight. This thing is all over the place. Like, what is the problem? Can you fly to Bahamas next? Well, you know, I typically try to fly places that I have scenery, and I don't have scenery for that, or at least I'm not aware of any scenery for that. Do you know of any on Xplane? Because if you do, I'll load it up and I'll fly it. I actually have to go to work tonight. I dispatch on the graveyard shift. I do flights that come from Europe back to the U.S. That's the reason I work. I mean, I do domestic sometimes, but mostly 95% of the time I'm doing long hauls that come out of, you know, I do the Tel Aviv flights coming back to the U.S. I do stuff out of Germany, London, Paris, you know, standard stuff out of Europe coming back to this side. But I can tell you for sure that, I mean, it's really crazy how good Xplane has managed to simulate real life flight. I wonder, can you fix the shadows on the fly. Like if you use, like I'm using LUA plugins, and I wonder like if I just threw it into the folder, like would Xplane pick it up, or do I have to reload the whole sim to have it fixed? Oh, got a little chop there. Can't do it. Wishful thinking, I guess. Oh, that's gonna bother me the rest of the flight. I wish I'd have realized. I wish I would have remembered that before I started. Okay. I'll suck it up and deal with it for now. Alright, passing through 26 and still waiting to reach Mach 7.8 so we can swap over to Mach speed instead of the indicator. And there's your notorious weather reload. Alright, so it looks like we've crossed over into Michigan now. Good little flyby here. Sorry for the blank screens that seem to be going back and forth as I click through apps. I'm not sure why it does that. Maybe I'll figure out the reason for it. I'll look into that. That doesn't look right. Game loads all the stuff at the beginning of the game with on the specific loads after selecting the flight. Shadows and such is flight independent, so at game locks. Gotcha. How did I get the winglets? You know, Zibo, this guy goes by a code name Zibo. My understanding is he took the default 737 and whipped it into shape and turned it into I mean, it's pretty close to study level. I mean, it's not technically study level, but it's pretty close. But anyway, so he oh, thanks for the follow there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so he took the default 737 and turned it into a pretty close to the study level type things that you see like from PMDG and such, but you can go into the settings here. What is it? Settings, aircraft config, and let's see. I think it's in here somewhere. Let's see, is it? Am I in the wrong place? Engine shocks, high barrels. Maybe it's not in here. It's in one of these. Anybody out there know which setting it is? Feel free to let them know. I'm trying to show them where the winglets is. There's this place in here to. Oh, there it is. So you put it on split, and that's for we call it split scimitar winglets, but you can put blended or none. So you just select that option right there. But this airplane's free. It's incredible. I would venture to say if it wasn't for this airplane, I may not have even gotten into Xplane. So to Zibo's credit, I think he's bringing a lot of people over to Xplane because they basically have a pretty close to pretty close to payware airplane that's pretty close to study level that they can sort of sample, you might say, to see if they like Xplane or not. Because most people that do PMDG or what's another one? Flight Sim Labs, you know, they're pretty staunch about the airplanes, and rightfully so. You get used to having the good stuff. So this gives you a chance to fly something in Xplane and really see if you like it or not. Yeah, speaking of forms, Xplane has some pretty good forms. And the stuff that's freeware, I just can't believe. The O'Hare Center that I just took off from, it's not free. That's made by Nimbus. But Mr. X has some really good freeware sceneries, and I mean, I've seen some stuff that's payware that is not as good as that. So I mean, you can really get into Xplane. I mean, you pay $60 up front for the sim, or at least that's what I paid. And after that, you get a lot of free stuff to really just help you figure out if you like it or not. So what's our ETA here? 6:29C. I don't even know what Z time is right now. 14:55C. It's not too long to go. About an hour and a half. Oh, do it again for the wingless. So let's see, that was display. Yeah, so I'll go back. So you go to the main page, and then settings and features, displays, and it's right here. I'm not gonna click it.
That's we go.
I don't think it'll do anything, but just in case, I'm not gonna click it since I'm already in the air. But if you click this, it'll switch from none or blended, which is your regular ones, or you have the split scimitar windows. California cast is attractive though. I'm eyeballing A320 777 and haven't even completed an airliner flight yet. You know, I did look at the flight factor A320. I do like Airbus. I think they're pretty good airplanes. You know, differences in systems obviously, but I do like them. I don't know if I like the 777. I don't know. Maybe I just got too spoiled by PMDG's 777, so the one that I see on it for Xplane, at least from what I can tell from watching YouTube videos and whatnot, I don't know, I didn't really like it too much. So I just realized I forgot to set the fastest seatbelt signs, so we'll ignore that. We'll pretend like I didn't forget that. So unbuckle, and then let's see, we'll get some.
Until the seatbelt sign has been switched off.
Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. Look at the shadows. Airbus A330 Neo. What's going on? So let's make an announcement. Tell everybody they're free to move about the cabin.
Lay Shaman from flight deck here. Seatbelt signs off. Gives you an opportunity to move about. Do ask on your seat though to keep those seatbelts fastened for your safety and those about you. So we get closer, we'll update weather gate information. Enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Oh, I'm pretty good. Last day of an off day set for me. I've been off the last couple days from work, so it was nice. Decent sleep. At least as good as I can expect, so I'm feeling pretty good. Alright, so we're leveled off, 35. Let me see what the ultimate altitude is according to the box. It says altitude is 370. Well, why not? Let's climb on up. Alright, so set it here. Set it here. Set it here. Once, twice, 3 times. So we're going up to 37. I wonder if that saved me the fuel. A couple 100 pounds, I'll take it. I do have some things to fix in my textures. It was looking a lot better than this before. You know, I was trying to get my ground traffic back, but I'll fix it. basically points what I need to do. Yeah, I can hear you on that. I don't know if you guys know, I do have a YouTube channel that I ran for a while. Goes by the same name, Southern Aviator. Doesn't have any Xplane stuff on there. I may load this up on there. But I was doing I was doing Steam. And then for the last year I was doing P3D, but I never posted any P3D stuff up there as I was trying to work out, get into run well. And then at some point I got exposed to Xplane, and I got, started getting onto that. But I think I'm gonna start uploading my stuff to my YouTube channel a lot more too. If you guys want to go in there and view it. It's pretty much just like this for the most part. Not any different, just doing flights and having fun with it. Got myself a puppy a while back. Let me call her. Oakley, come. Come in. All right, appreciate it. Thanks for the follow. Welcome aboard. All right, come here, Oakley. So this is my pup. She's a wire-haired pointing griffon. She's a good girl. Yeah. I'm a dog guy. Alright. She's pretty big though. She's only like 2 months old or something like that. 10 weeks, 2.5 months. But she's getting accustomed to the light fit pretty quickly. Alright, so we're up at 37, leveled off. I am a dog guy. I mean, nothing against cats or birds. Alright, appreciate that. Thanks for the follow. Nothing against cats or birds or any other, but dogs really do it for me. I had a chocolate lab for a long time. Name was Shelly. She was a real good dog. But she's gone on now. And so now I got a new one. My wife got me introduced to that dog. I never even heard of him before, but she grew up with him. And apparently they're pretty good dogs. They don't shed, no allergy issues. I don't have allergies, but my son's highly allergic to dogs, but he has no issue with this dog. My mother-in-law has one, so that's how we figured out that he was okay with him. Alright, so let's see, we got 15:54 until top of descent. Current time is 15:02, so that's about 50 minutes or so before top of descent. There it is again, turn to left before it goes right. It's never done that to me before. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyway, I'm gonna go eat breakfast. I'm gonna leave the sim going, and if you guys want to come back, I'll be back about 100 nautical miles or so before top of descent. No, they do. So she doesn't shed. Did I say shed? No, she doesn't shed, or at least very little. I mean, hardly at all. If she does, it's so rare. Zibo can't catch VNAV and NAV perfectly, so it's normal. Okay. I guess maybe I just never noticed it before. I guess not. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just eat some burgers. I'm starving. So I'm gonna go do that real quick, but I'll definitely be back about 100 nautical miles or so before top of the descent to get that set up, which isn't too long from now. So if you guys want to come back then or stay on the stream, that's okay, but I'll keep it running for now. come back, I debated whether or not I was going to actually cook breakfast. And as you can see, I went with no. At the end of the day, Cheerios will do. Alright, so I gotta tell you, I am a cereal first kind of guy. When I'm making cereal, the cereal definitely goes in the bowl first. Primarily because I have to make sure that my cereal is what I expect it to be. So what if I pour the milk first and then I pour the cereal, kind of find out I don't have enough? Or what if it's all that dusty stuff at the bottom that I don't like to eat? I'll tell you something kind of crazy. Like if I eat Raisin Bran and I get to the bottom of the bag where all the dust and small, stuff is that I don't like, I use a spaghetti strainer to get it all out. So yeah, I have to make sure my cereal's right first before I actually pour the milk. So let's see, tonight I go to work, and let me pull up the list here. So let's see. Now this is probably going to give it away as to what airline I work for, but I'm going to be doing Tel Aviv to Newark. I'm going to be doing Munich to O'Hare. Paris to Dulles, and then London Dulles, London Dulles. Those are the flights that I'll be releasing when I go to work tonight. The Tel Aviv Newark is always the trickiest one. Just let me know, do I, because like I said, I'm still working on my audio levels to make sure everything's right. Are you hearing everything right as far as me and the SIM and et cetera, so all the audio levels correct? All right, cool. Appreciate that for letting me know. Yeah, that Tel Aviv Newark flight, that's the very first one I do as soon as I sit down at my desk. And it's tricky because it's very peculiar or particular how you have to do the altitudes out of there, the routings out of there, and then you're entering European airspace and then exiting, so you have to make sure the flight plan passes Euro control. And so some days I go in and plan that flight and it works just fine. Our flight planner is supposed to be able to go through the RAD document in Euro control and basically come up with the most efficient route while passing all the requirements. But sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it can take a while to plan that thing. I have spent on that flight, there's been nights where I spent an hour and a half planning that one flight. Let's see. Okay, so how does dispatching work for inbound? Since the pilots are not there with you, you just sort of brief them digitally. A briefing is required on international flights, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure if that's a government regulation or if that's a company thing. Anyway, but so I'll plan it, and that crew is already in Tel Aviv. You know, they for the long hauls, you know, those crews will go and fly, but that's their only leg they're going to do that day. So they just basically park the airplane and hand it off to the next crew. So when I'm planning these flights, the crew is at the hotel, typically. And so a lot of times they'll call me from the hotel, you know, to get their flight briefing. And so when they call, you know, I'll just tell them about any concerns or issues, anything that's different, you know, that, you know, we don't normally deal with. Maybe I'll tell them where the turbulence is and where I expect that to be. You know, where the what I think the arrival weather's going to be and what impact that I think that's going to have, if any. But it's pretty basic stuff during the briefing. And most of the time, they look up the flight plan, and they pretty much see the same things that I see. Most of the time when they call, they already know the same things that I know. They've looked at and seen the same things that I've seen. And we're basically just make sure we agree on everything, because we both have to agree and we both have to feel comfortable with it. So yeah, we do that, and then he says okay, and then usually it ends with, all right, we'll talk en route and we'll give you some pilot reps and we'll let you know what we find out there. And I say, all right, and I let them know that I'll be here to help them if they can. And once they launch, then it's not over. I still have to follow them around and make sure things going according to plan, make sure they're safe. If they have any emergencies or medical issues or whatever, then I have to deal with all that stuff. But that's typically how the flight planning side of it goes and the briefing side of it. The ETOPS stuff can be a pain too, because you want to plan your ETOPS with airports that have legal weather, but if that weather is really close to landing means, and then you apply it to your flight plan, and then all of a sudden they change that tab on you, and now it's not legal anymore, then you're gonna have to go through a pain to get it all changed over. So usually, even if an airport is legal and it's the closest airport route, sometimes we won't use it just because it's just too tight, and we'll use an airport that's like VFR instead, even though it might be a little further away. Because the thing is, if we get en route and something happens, like he pops an engine or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter what was on the ETOPS plan at all. Like that just goes out the window. Your ETOPS plan is just basically proving to the government, in this case the FAA, that this flight can be done and have airports to go to in a certain amount of time. But if we get out there and say I didn't use Keflavik, Iceland for my ETOPS coming across because it's legal, but I just thought the weather wasn't good enough for my liking, and then he gets out there and he's got an emergency and Keflavik happens to be the closest airport, we're going to Keflavik. It don't matter what was on that flight plan. So having that job makes flight simple breeze as far as planning concerns, I guess, which I think is the challenging part for the community. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, the planning part, I guess a lot of people out there wouldn't know what goes through a dispatcher's mind or maybe even a pilot's mind as far as how to plan. I'll be honest, when I plan my flights on FlightSim, I haven't done 5 minutes. I mean, because it's something I do at work. I've done thousands and thousands of flight plans, so for me it's pretty straightforward. And I'm always open to answer any questions that people may have. I will tell you that no two dispatchers are alike. There's 400-something dispatchers for the company I work for, and just about everyone of them have different takes on how things should be done. So you have things that are matters of opinion, and you have things that are legally required. Everything else in the middle is mostly up to the dispatcher, but I can definitely answer questions if anybody has any as far as what typically is planned, or what we typically do in different situations. So fire away if you have any questions for me. What do I use for flight planning? I use PFPX. Don't really do Sky Vector or anything like that. I'll be honest with you, PFPX, in my opinion, is very impressive. And there's a couple things I want to say about it. One, PFPX is about as close as you're going to get to real-world flight planners that you're going to get. As a matter of fact, I have actually worked at some regional airlines before I worked at the airline I'm at now. And their flight planning software, in my opinion, was much weaker than PFPX. PFPX has a lot to offer as far as flight planning is concerned, from the optimization of routes and everything else. It is right on up there. And the flight planner that we use at work, I have a suspicion that the same people that make PFPX are the same people that make the flight planner we actually use in the real world at work. It's some of the same terminology. It's like the same. So many similarities between the two, and both companies are out of Austria. So it really makes me think that maybe these are the same people that are doing it. It's just a hunch. I could be wrong. And let's see, as far as weather frequency, we do wind updates every 4 hours, I believe, as far as en route winds. And weather frequency, just when the TAFs and the METARs come out, we use them and apply them. SimBrief is good. I'm not knocking SimBrief, especially since it's free. I mean, it can do a lot too, and I really like it because you can get your flight plans output to look just like the real thing. The one that's on there for our company, it is identical. I mean, he nailed it. I mean, he nailed it. If you showed me one that was from SimBrief and one that was from the flight planner at work, I might not be able to tell the difference if I didn't look at it too hard. So SimBrief is pretty good. I do use a little Sky Vector at work, but only for like little small things, like if I'm trying to find a waypoint or something out there to plan off of, or something I just need a quick reference to pull it up, I might do that. But that's about it. Reflections on this, the P3D just couldn't touch that. You can't touch it. Yeah, there is a lot to learn. I remember taking my dispatch exam to get my license, and I did okay. The guy said I did fine, and when he gave me my license, he said, "Look," he says, "I want to be clear. You don't know how to dispatch." He said, "But you've demonstrated the ability to learn." He said, "When you get to the company, whatever company that is that you're going to end up working for, you're going to have to learn their standard operating procedures." And he said, "I'm basically giving you a license to learn." And at the time, you hear that and you just think somebody's saying it just to be cliche or something, but he was absolutely right, because when I compare what I learned at dispatch school versus what I'm actually doing now, they're just worlds and worlds apart. And the funny thing is, the guy that gave me my exam, 5 years later, I ended up going to the same airline that he works, and I work next to him all the time. So it's real. I thought I'd never see that guy again. Like, he gave me my exam, and I was just glad to get out of there with a license, and I thought I'd never see that guy again. And now I see him every day, like practically every time I go to work. And the dispatch community is so small. There's somebody that knows you more than likely at just about every airline in the country you might work at, because there's only so many of us. So you have to make sure you keep yourself keep your record clean, maybe you would say. Make sure you don't burn any bridges, because you just never know when you might need a reference for something, or you just never know. Somebody's looking to hire you, they're going to ask people that they already hired at their airline about you. If somebody there knows you and they don't have anything good to say about you, it might be hard to get a job. Did my flight sim help me to pass? Absolutely. Absolutely. To a point that I wonder how people do it that haven't done flight sim or something relevant to that. There were so many things that I understood before I even got into the class that absolutely gave me a head start. Regulations were things that maybe I didn't know as well, like the 1, 2, 3 rule for planning an alternate, or just things like that, or the 1 nav A, 2 nav A rule for what alternate you're going to use. Just little things like that I didn't know. But as far as how an airplane works, how it flies, because that's definitely on there, you definitely have to understand that. Just gave me such a head start. So yeah, it absolutely helped. There's no doubt about it. I'll also say, I'm talking about my mouthful. I'll also say that continuing to do flight sim helps you stay in tune with what you do at work. Granted, don't get me wrong, the majority of the dispatch group, as far as I know, has nothing to do with flight sim. Like, they don't play it, it's not something they do. But there are a lot of dispatchers that get into flight sim as well. I'm just saying the majority of dispatchers don't. And for them that don't, that's for them to do. I'm sure they do whatever they have to do to maintain standards. But for me, it absolutely helps me stay in touch. And I really feel like when I'm talking to crews, I have a pretty good idea of what it is that they're needing, and it helps me know how to provide it to them. And when they're talking to me about certain concepts that they're concerned about, it helps a lot, having this background. We got about 200 miles to go before top of descent. But I definitely love being a dispatcher. There's no doubt about it. I've never gone to work and just thought, man, I wish I didn't have to go down there. I've never been bothered by it. I mean, I like my off time just as much as anybody else, but I do not dread going to work. See, maybe an idea for the channel to exchange bid on the entire planning phase up to taxi. Would be nice to change the signal streams and bids that rush through that part. Yeah, I don't mind doing that. I tell you what, next stream I'll do just that. So if you just happen to miss it, it'll be on the channel. But I'll do that. I'll pull up a video and I'll start from start to finish, and I'll just walk through everything that I intend to do and why I'm doing it. Sooner or later, I'm going to have to do an international flight on Xplane. I still have not done that. I admit, I have not left the U.S. yet on Xplane. But I'll get around to it. Domestic and international flight planning could not be more different from each other. The things you would do for one, you most likely wouldn't do for the other, outside of the basic stuff, of course. But yeah, I could do that. It's not a problem at all. It's actually a pretty good idea. If I can capture this window, yeah. So here was the flight plan that I just did, actually. Where'd it go? 670. So this is the Cleveland-Boston that I just planned. So you can see everything that I did there. So I hit random, and usually I just start off from the beginning. I get my flight plan together, I try to get the actual schedule that I'm going to use. I try to use real world schedules. That way I can plan my cost index around being on time. So what I'll do is I'll find out what the block time is, and that's basically, if you don't know what that term means, it's just from popping the brakes to arriving at the gate. I'll figure out what that block time is, and then I'll plan around that block time and use it as an on-time schedule. I'll look at the winds and get the departure runway. A lot of times if I'm not familiar with what runways an airport particularly uses for departure, because every airport has their own little configurations that they like to do depending on what the winds are. And they have favorite departure runways. They have favorite arrival runways. Like you go to Atlanta, for example, see what would it be, 26 left and 27 right, for an example, is going to be your departure runways. They're not going to take off on any other runway unless something's closed for some reason. So just things like that. So I get that together. I try to figure out what I think my taxi time is going to be. Also, I hit random, and I try to have at least like 120 passengers. Rarely do I see flights with anything less than that. So I usually hit random until this populates with 120 people right here, and make sure the payload looks, realistic. I planned to land with 45 minutes of extra fuel. That basically gives you an hour and a half of landing fuel. So, an hour and a half of endurance fuel. Flight planners, we very much look at arrival fuel as our terms for planning fuel. So we decide how much arrival fuel we think we need to handle whatever, ATC constraints or whatever. So say today I'm going into Boston, and let's say I'm concerned about arrival volume. What I might do in real life is do like 30 minutes of extra with 15 minutes of whole fuel, 30 minutes to deal with anything en route as far as turbulence avoidance, if something pops up, and then 15 minutes of whole fuel. And I would also try to figure out how much fuel it takes to get to the nearest alternate that I could use. So like, for example, Manchester's one that you could use, and so is that 39 miles. So I would calculate that. I wouldn't actually list it on the flight plan, but if I thought that there would be some holding issues, I would basically keep that fuel that it takes to go to the alternate. So that fuel would be in the extra column, but it's really for just in case I need to go to Manchester because they asked me to hold too long and I can't hold anymore. So that's what I would do. So I would put in here, I would go like, 30 minutes of extra, and then for whole time I would go 15. I don't plan based on pounds of fuel, because depending on the weight of the airplane, that can change how much that fuel can keep you in the air for. So plan it based on minutes and time, not based on pounds of fuel. I don't know if you do that or not, but I know some people do, and that's not something I would recommend. So yeah, I would do that, put in Manchester, and then I would calculate it. Get an error there because the winds are old. But anyway, so then that comes out to be an hour and 30 minutes of fuel. So you have your, why is my alternate not on there? Did I put none? Yeah, I did. I need to put that as one. I knew that didn't sound right. Alright, so there we go. So that would be an hour and 42 minutes of fuel. It's saying it takes 12 minutes to get to Manchester. So I usually like to have about 30 minutes on top of my alternate burn, because the crews like to land at their alternate with an hour more often than not. So that's 8.5 in pounds. That's an hour and 42 minutes of fuel. And so now you look at the release, and that's we'll round that up to 17.2, and then I would go back into here and I would put 17.2, and then I would get rid of the alternate, because as far as weather's concerned, Boston doesn't require an alternate, so I don't have to list one. So because Boston doesn't require an alternate, I don't have to list it on the flight plan. I can go because and it doesn't require because of the 1-2-3 rule. If you guys don't know what the 1-2-3 rule is, just feel free to ask me and I'll tell you. But it passes the 1-2-3 rule, so I don't need an alternate. So I would put none and I would clear that out. But I still have the fuel for it because I figured out how much I would need. So now when I compute all that fuel that would have gone to the alternate burn, now it just goes into the extra column. And I still end up with my fuel. And I still end up with landing with 8.5. So in that scenario, it's just a made up scenario, but you know, if I'm thinking that Boston might have some holding, I want to know that I can hold for 15 minutes, have enough extra fuel to deal with possible, you know, turbulence deviations if I'm concerned about that, because they change altitudes and that burns more fuel if they go down in altitude from what you plan. And then after that 15 minutes of holding, okay, because I think 15 minutes should be enough. 15 minutes of hold should be enough for traffic. Then I would bug out to the alternate, and I know I have the fuel to do so if need be, all without listing it. So that would be a way that I would handle that. Yeah, I've seen people plan on fuel instead of translating the time, which I thought was odd, but assuming people know what they're doing. Yeah, and you know what's funny? Pilots make that mistake more than anybody else. Pilots are habitual about talking in terms of pounds. I give you an example. We have 737-700s in our fleet, but we also have 737-900 ERs. So let's say you have a 737 and it's a light load. Well, that plane might arrive with like 5,500 pounds of fuel, which a 737 pilot is going to balk at that. He's going to say, I'm not landing with 5,500 pounds of fuel. I don't feel comfortable with that. It's not enough extra fuel. But it turns out that 5,500 pounds is like an hour and 40 minutes in time. It's plenty of fuel because the plane's light and it's a smaller version of the 737. That same 737 pilot will then hop in a 900. You see what I'm saying? And then that 955 pounds, and if it's a heavier flight, say, you know, it's fully loaded, that 5,500 pounds isn't even going to get you an hour's worth of fuel over the fence. And we require at least an hour. We wouldn't even get you that. So that crew might be used to say, oh, I want to land with 7.5. 7.5 on a 737-700 that's lightly loaded versus a 737-900 ER that's loaded down. Two completely different fuel burns in terms of endurance. Not even close. And the crew will call up and they'll say, hey, I see you plan my flight with 5,500 pounds. I'm not comfortable with that. I think that's ridiculous. Like, they get upset about it. And then you have to explain to them, well, sir, I understand, but it's a 700 and you've got 30 passengers, you know. And then you tell them 5,500 pounds is a lot of fuel for this airplane. And so, you know, so that's where you really should stay away from planning based on pounds. You should do it in terms of time. That's really the only thing that matters. So yeah, we see it all the time. All the time. This off to the side. Alright, so 100 miles to go. So let's see here. Alright, so I'm going to pull up the ATIS for Boston real quick. The real world ATIS. Let's see what they're saying. So Boston ATIS information, Mike 1519Z, winds of 330 at 8, 10 statute, few 17, few 2800, scattered 5, so we don't have a ceiling. Ceiling will be broken or overcast layer, so we have no ceiling, technically speaking, in Boston. Temp 5, 2.1, altimeter 2986. So they're landing ILS-22 left, departing 22 right. Read back all hold short instructions, assigned altitude, runway status lights are in use, moderate bird activity in areas, hazardous weather info for Boston area available from IWAS FSS, numerous cranes. That's about it. Alright, so really nothing alarming there, but I did plan for 27 left. So I'm going to swap around into, I planned for runway 27. So I need to swap to 22 left. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and make that change. So ILS-27 right. We'll go nollie transition. And let me take a peek at that and see what that looks like. Zoom in a little bit. the way I would expect it to. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So it looks like it might be a standard downwind. So I'll tell you something else I'll often do is I do try to mimic the real world flight patterns. So you can go into FlightAware. Here, let me go in here. I'll show you that. Maybe you want to see that. So I'll go into FlightAware. And let's see what we got here. So I'll go to Boston. And then this gives you the traffic. Some people use Flight Radar, but I don't know. I find FlightAware to be pretty good. So you can see the pattern that they're making. So the people are coming off the arrival here, and then they're making their downwind, and then hooking around and going into Boston. So I would probably come in here and get about, I don't know, 15 miles from the airport. This guy looks like he's making his turn pretty early to get in line here. So I'll come through here and I'll make it down. But I always look at that, and I also look at the altitudes that they do. So it looks like this guy's making his base leg at about 5,000 feet. So I'll try to sort of mimic that. I mean, I know it won't probably be exactly to the letter, but you know, just get an idea. Because sometimes the patterns in the airports can be so different than what you would expect. Like if you go into JFK, for example, and you follow that thing just like it's in the FMC, you're going to be so high, it's not even funny, because the real world pattern is much different. So always check on that, I would say, to make sure you're getting the most realistic thing. So see, dispatchers are independent from economic ops, right? So you can just give them more fuel. All right, so the answer to that would be yes and no. So the company absolutely wants you to save fuel, and it is a topic that you will hear about practically every day at work. It basically works like this. You can give them as much fuel as you want, but the guidance is to give them as little as fuel as needed, because obviously the more fuel you put on, the more money is spent. A lot of people think that, see, this stuff is interesting to put into info. Do you use any plug-in at all for things like that? No plugins. Like I say, just the flight planning software that you just saw. Uh-oh, did I just turn off the autopilot? Okay, I bumped my yoke for a second. But anyway, so back to the fuel guidance. So they'll want you to use as little fuel as possible, because it saves them money. Because the more fuel you put on, the heavier the airplane is. And the heavier the airplane is, the harder the engines work, and the harder the engines work, the more fuel it burns. So it costs fuel to carry the fuel. Now there are certain situations where the cost of fuel where we're leaving is much cheaper than the cost of fuel where we're going. So we'll tanker fuel. We'll actually load up as much as we can without kicking off people and take it, because we want to get the cheapest fuel possible. But not to get sidetracked. So you plan as little as possible, but don't plan so little that it becomes ridiculous and it's not safe. So you have to use your judgment. It's really what it boils down to. You have to use the best judgment you can to plan as little fuel as you can, but also give a reliable flight plan that you know is going to get you into your destination. I mean, like if I was planning a flight into a place that had thunderstorms, I don't mess around with thunderstorms. So they're probably going to get 40 minutes contingency, 30 minutes of extra, a solid alternate that I know has got great weather, and I'm not going to negotiate on that. I don't care. So it might end up being 2.5 hours of fuel, whatever it ends up being. I don't care. I'm putting it on. But if I'm going to Wichita, Kansas, and the weather's great, I go with landing with an extra hour and 5 minutes of fuel. So those two situations are very, very different. But if I'm planning in Wichita, and Wichita's supposed to have thunderstorms or snowstorms or whatever, they're going to get more fuel. So like I say, it all depends. Just you have to use your best judgment. But you don't want to waste the company's money. You want the company to be profitable, right? They pay you. It's your job. It's how you make a living. So if they make money and stay in business, that's better job security for you. So, it's a give and take on that. So how far we got to go? 40 miles. All right, so let's see, bit here. So yeah, get back to the flight here for a moment. So 22 left is going to be it. Don't mind me here for a second. I'm going to pull up some charts. Can't do a whole lot without those. So I use jet charts here, and I'll be honest with you, I can do that because, you know, company. I am the beneficiary of that, so I don't have to buy Navigraph charts or anything like that because I have company charts, so no reason to buy the other stuff. Alright, so 27. Why do I keep saying 27? 22 left. Alright, so we're going to go to an auto brake of 2 per top cat. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go ahead and set the frequency. So freak is going to be 110.3. Alright, hang on 1 second. Let me. Grabbing food while you're just, ain't that pretty? You can do that in flight sim world. In real world, you got to call the flight attendants and ask for your crew meal. And the crew meals are actually pretty good. Whenever I sit in the flight deck, they always have like 3 or 4. And they always cook 4 different meals or have 4 different crew meals because the idea is if something's contaminated in the food, at least only one of the crew members get it. So they have these different foods, so the captain and first officer will pick theirs, and then I'll choose from what's left over. But it is always good. Like that's one perk for sure for sitting in the flight deck, is you get a really good meal out of the deal. All right, so back to the setup. So the course is going to be 215. So we'll throw that in there on both sides. MDA, so the decision height is going to be 216 feet, so basically right at sea level. See, I want barrel. Yeah, there we go. What did I say it was? 216. All right. So 216 for the decision height. And this approach altitude is going to be 3,000. Oh, sorry, I forgot I had the pause at the top of the set turned on. Alright, so now I'm going to take a peek at the airport layout so I can see what that's going to look like when I depart the runway, so I'm not clueless. So T2 left. Looks like I'll be getting off either Fox or Charlie and then on to the ramp. And I'll have to cross T2 right. Alright, so there's that. So let's go ahead and reset the MCP altitude. I set it to 10, just as a reminder not to bust the 250 knot speed restriction. And airplane swinging left and right again, but whatevs. And let's go ahead and fasten the seatbelt sign. Now I'm gonna grab this. I think because a lot of times when the Zibo mod descends, it descends like really aggressively, and I don't like that. It looks like it's about to do that, so I'm gonna slow this up a little bit. So 35, we need 35 until we catch back up with it. So that's good enough for now. And let's make our top of descent speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we are descending. Seatbelt sign is on. If you happen to be up and about, please return your seat. Keep your seatbelt fastened for the remainder of the flight. On behalf of the flight crew, we appreciate you being with us today. Wish you a very safe and pleasant journey to your final destination. Hope to see you back here with us soon. Thank you.
You do. That is a fact. We do. All right. So it looks like I'm getting whooped here on the descent. It's getting away from me. So I'm going to pull out the speed brakes here to try to help it out a bit. Maybe I should have put in the the descent winds because it's running away from me. Yeah, if I'd have put in the descent winds, maybe would have been better prepared for it. Now I got the speed brakes fully out, and it's not slowing down much. All right, I'm starting to catch up now. It's almost like an emergency descent. But this number's winding down, so we're looking good. So it wants to be 280 knots at or above 21,000 at seats. So I'll see if I can make that. No promises on the speed though. Yeah, a lot of times ATC, they'll tell you to descend via the arrival sometimes, but a lot of times they just give you normal step downs, and a lot of times it might not even follow directly with the standard terminal arrival. It just depends on what ATC does, and you'll find that that's airport specific. Certain places do it, and certain places don't. It's that kind of thing. All right, so I'm gonna switch on VNAV, and then I'll go speed intervene. Let's go 280. Weather reload there. But yeah, some airports are like, they want you to fly it just like it's charted, and then others they have their own specific things that they want to do, and sometimes that can change depending on weather, different traffic scenarios. So I really can't say that they follow the descent profile on the star exactly every time, because it just varies so much. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And different, like I say, different airports will have their own ways that they like to do things. Like I said, I don't want to come across to say that they never follow the star, because that's not the case. Like, a lot of times they do, but I'm just saying it can vary. I will say I hear descend via the arrival, not a lot. I don't hear that a lot. I hear that very little. A lot of times they just step them down little by little as they want them. But I will say, in terms for Xplane, I'll just follow the arrival and just let that be what it is. So at or above 17. So I still got the boards out. I'm trying to catch back up with my descent profile here. Getting a big push right here. Winds are right on the tail at 90 knots. So it makes sense why I'm having such a hard time getting the plane to slow down and get down. But luckily, these are at or above restrictions. So it's no big deal if you're above it. So nothing really sweat about too much. But when you get to autumn here, you can see it's 270. You got to be at or below 12 and at or above 11, so that's a hard altitude that you got to beat. so the pressure was 29086. So we'll go ahead and set that, swap the pressure over. Once, twice, because I had to sync the first side sync, so I don't have to do that side. And don't forget your standby altimeter, 29086. Big push from behind. This number's going down, but very slowly. So let's see, at what point am I going to reach 12? Because that's the one I'm most concerned about right now. So let's put this in. It's going to be close. It's like, it seems like I'm in the clouds, but I'm not in the clouds. You know, one quick thing about Xplane, when I would play P3D or FSX, I would pretty much shrug my shoulders at crosswinds. Like I looked at the winds to see what runway I was going to land on, but I wasn't really concerned about crosswinds. And but in real world, the crew's very much worried about crosswinds, and I always found that peculiar, you know, because when I would land in flight sim, it was never really that big of a deal. Like it was not that hard to do. And I knew something was up, but I wasn't quite sure what. And then I got on the Xplane, and Xplane's flight modeling with that blade element theory, it's spot on, because what I see crews doing when I'm on a flight deck and crosswinds and how they're handling that yoke, and they're just working the yoke in and out, and just, it's almost like they're trying to wrestle the airplane down. That is what I end up having to do on Xplane in the same scenario. Like it's much harder to land in crosswinds. So now crosswinds get my attention in the sim, whereas they really didn't P3D. So like I said, there's big differences that I see between the two sims. All right, so coming up on 10. So I'm gonna slow it on down to 240. And I'll also go ahead and set, what's the next altitude here? I'll go ahead and set it for 5. Go ahead and turn the lights on. Wing light on, landing lights on. It's daytime, so I won't fool with the runway turn lights. Try to keep that synced. All right, so I'm gonna give myself a vector here. Kind of like what I saw on FlightAware. So we'll go 060. And I put nobly up at the top. I don't know, can I move this vector up? Yeah. So we'll just do that. We'll lift the speed brakes up. Don't need those right now. Guess we're kind of in it right now. What's the temperature? -2. Turn on the wing and the engine. Usually with the wing ice, you wouldn't turn on your wing anti-ice unless you actually kind of started seeing visible icing, you know, good on the plane. I got rain? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. The ATIS didn't have rain in it. Unless I overlooked it. Nah, it doesn't look like I did. So no, 80% information, November's out now, still landing 22 left. There's no rain here, so I guess I'm just picking up where I am. And I do apologize for the blank screens here and there. I'm gonna work that out, you know, down the road, or try to figure out why it's doing that. All right, so descending on down to 5. So what I'm going to do is just make this kind of like this little loop here, and then come in over Noli. Noli's at or above 4, so I'm going for 5 now. So you can kind of see what I'm going to do here. Man, Xplane just knows how to do it. So when I get about a beam Noli, then I'll start making my turn back to the left. See, what you can try is to have the game on Windows mode instead of full screen. So is that what's doing that? Is it because I have it on full screen mode? Alright, so just picking up the ILS now, so I'm going to slow it down to 210. Well, let's wait till we get just under 15 miles out, then I'll slow it down. Oh, the ground's peeking out at me right there.
Thousand to go.
I don't think I'm going to need any more speed brakes as far as I can tell, so I'm going to go ahead and set this. Speed brake on. It might, see, at full screen, see, it's basically controlled by the game. So things like stream is secondary. Let's see, I think I can change that now, right? Well, I'll tell you what, I won't do it now, but the next stream, I'll definitely put it on Windows and try that out, because it does start to get annoying. Alright, so let's turn back. Let's slow a little bit. 220. Probably went out a little further than I needed to, but oh well. Matter of fact, let's just go direct to Noli. So sometimes OBS, okay. That's good to know. I appreciate the help there. That's definitely some good info. In fact, I'm gonna speed back up to 240. I'm a little ways out. We'll be going that slow. Let's give a slow descent to 4,000.
To go.
Alright, so looks like we're about lining up, so I'm gonna pick up the localizer here. Let the plane have that. Let's go ahead and set our head to 215. Actually, Photoshop is fine without me to the settings, however, Infinity Designer just blanks out whatever I do. Yeah, that's odd. I guess, you have to figure out which one is doing what. But I think you're probably right. I think if I go with window mode next, it won't be that big of an issue. Alright, so the glide's coming in, so I'm going to slow it down to 210. Let's go ahead and arm the full approach. Let's go ahead and take on flaps 5. Another thing about Xplane versus flight sim, the plane actually can slow down. I all the time I had such issues getting the plane to slow down. I would get cross final approach fix 180 knots or maintain 180 knots until final approach fix. I'd cross the final approach fix and then try to drop the gear and slow the plane down, and I'd be coming right up on threshold, still trying to get the plane to slow down. But in the real world, it just doesn't work like that. Like, it just doesn't do that. The plane slows down. It's not hard to get a plane to slow down in the real world. I mean, I'm not saying it's super easy, but it's definitely not that hard. But on here, it works out much more like what you would see in real life. All right, so I'm going to slow down to 180. Oh, I just realized there's one thing I absolutely forgot that I shouldn't have, and that was to set my ref. So 139 is going to be final approach speed. Alright, so let's give it some more flaps. Starting to break out here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the wipers.
$2,500.
Wipers don't seem to be working. Usually they do. So I'm going to go ahead and bug the final speed for, what did I say, 139? Yeah, because I go VREF plus 5, pretty standard. Alright, coming over to final approach fix now. So let's go gear down. Flaps 15. I'm going to turn out the autopilot since I feel good about the visuals. What the heck? Do I have failures on? Oh, where would that even be? Let's see. I do. Yeah, fix all the systems, please. I ain't got time for that right now. There we go. Now we're down in lock. Lord have mercy. Alright, so let's go flaps 40. Misapproach altitude is 3,000.
1,000. 1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Approach altitude set.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take this. Let's put it on the ground. Freaking thing had failures on. Here's what locked. I'm interested though why my windshield won't clean up.
Minimums.
There's minimums.
100.
Firm landing for 737.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
There we go. Give the reversers. There's 60. Scrap the tiller. Take it on in. On the ground. Let's clean it up. Flaps up. Speed brakes up. That off. APU on. Landing lights off. Taxi light on. Wing light off. I guess these wipers are doing me a bit of good. Yeah, why is it wet where it was wiping? It's literally doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do. Glitch, anyone? Alright, so let me get a chart. So this is taxiway Echo. There's Mike. I'm going Echo 4 left. Starting to feel these charts might be a little different. There we go, so we're gonna cross here. So I see where I am now. So I ended up going down to Papa is what happened. I get off on the high speed at Papa and then Echo. So we'll go cross 4 left and we'll turn right on Bravo. And as you can see, the United gate, I'll take that gate, why not? Go over there with my United family, company aircraft. Oh, the sim just froze up on me. There we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and go across here. APU running up, so we'll take the APU buses. That gate seems just as good as any to me. Bravo 24. I love the Marcin on here. I mean, GSX wasn't bad, but this is just fine. And stop. Set the parking brake and shut the engines off, and that's that. I still got the anti-ice on. Alright, probe heat off, pumps off, electricity set, electrical pumps off. FU bleed on. Anti-collision light off. Probe be steady. Or excuse me. Position lights to steady. No strobes. Alright, so everything is set. Gate is pulled up. I wonder if they'll let me open the door yet. Nah, it's still locked. So that's about it. We made it. That is good scenery. How is this free? Man, Xplane community owes Mr. X a lot. I mean, he did all this for nothing. Well, I shouldn't say for nothing, because he gave a lot to the community by doing that. I think this actually drew a lot of people into Xplane. I don't know if that was his intentions or not, but it definitely had that effect on me. It gave me a chance to decide if I actually liked it or not without feeling like I had to pour money into it. And I do. I think it's the better sim. I hate saying that because I know there's this argument and war about it, but in my opinion, I think Xplane is pretty good. Still can't open the doors. What am I not doing? Did I probably haven't done something I was supposed to do? So collision lights are off. Focus setting. I don't know what I haven't done. There's usually you have to do certain things. Chalk set. Maybe is that it? No, that wasn't it either. Oh well. Turn seatbelt sign off. Probably should have done that earlier anyway, as soon as I set the parking brake. Okay. I like to open the door. There's something I was supposed to be doing to open these doors, and I know I'm just not doing it. Anyway, let's go ahead and open the door. And that's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to get on off of here. And I actually got to do a little exercising. Got to take care of that for today. Oh, poor guy. What are you sweeping a ramp for? But anyway, I'll probably be back on here as soon as I can. I'll be honest, I'm not sure when I will. But hopefully, you know, if you get notifications or whatever, you can see when I'm back on. But for now, I'm going to get on out of here and keep trying to work off some of this winter weight that I put on. I cycle also as a hobby, and so I'm just trying to make sure I can get into racing shape come spring and early summer, so I can do some racing, some bike racing. But that's about it for me. Until next time, you guys be good.